Samuel Geshohi, Head of Business Development at NIC Securities, is our market watcher for the day. Many thanks for joining us, Samuel. Let's kick off with Homes Africa, which has actually announced their results today. And it's the inaugural results that they're announcing after they listed about a month ago. What are your thoughts on the performance? We're seeing the profits coming in at 80 million shillings. For you, is that a good performance?
Well, I think they've done well. It's about time now the company came out with more information to the market. They're a new company. They're on a new listing segment, which is the gem segment. And I think that that information coming out now begins, of course, is another milestone for the gems market. And I think Home Africa also being the only listed real estate firm, and since we're looking to go into rates going forward, I believe now getting good results coming out of to the market will definitely be a good sign, and also will help, you know, their price on the market, so that now the market can be able to value that share, you know, and be able to come up with a price that, you know, sort of drives that market. And also that will also attract other firms to this market, because then again it's a precedent, and that is actually a good thing.
Talking of the real estate market, yesterday when Britain was announcing their results, they also mentioned that they're going to get in aggressively into the property market, whereby they've already acquired a 21 acre piece of land, and they're going to put up some commercial and residential property. And they're also talking of getting into the market to probably raise some 5 billion shillings capital raising ventures. For you, when you look at the stock, when you look at the real estate market in relation to Britain, how do you see the performance relating going forward?
Well, I think real estate can be capital intensive and a bit long term. And we've seen the central bank also saying that there's a need to see the funding of the real estate sector coming not just from loans from banks, but also coming from you know, different parts of the economy. And so I think we are seeing a few of these companies that are listed and can raise funds from the public, especially through real estate investment trusts, and also, you know, through the fact that they are listed, and which can also have some sort of input into the real estate sector, so that we can reduce that risk where the real estate sector is really relying on just loans from banks. That said, I think that British American joins the likes of Centum, the likes of AGADS, and we have heard about Tattoo City and all that. So we are expecting to see a booming real estate sector, and then again we talked about Home Africa. So I think there is quite a lot happening on that end, and there's a lot of focus. The fact is we have a deficit of homes, especially for the middle and lower income, and I am looking to see, you know, who is going to go into that area strong, and whoever does and gets it right, I think going forward will really make a
Do you think the real estate sector is in a bubble and likely to burst at any one point?
Well, not necessarily. I just think that it's the areas of concentration. We have seen in the past the concentration was on the high end of the spectrum, and now there's beginning to be a shift to the lower end, lower earning, lower income. We've had you know, Home Africa and Shelter Africa coming together to say they're going to do a 1 million shilling home, and that's this area that really needs to be checked out, because we have all these, you know, people who are earning but don't have enough to service, you know, these large mortgages, but can easily afford a 1 million home. And so I think now the shift is also going to help to bring in another side of the real estate business, which is going also to push that industry.
Do you think the time is ripe for Britain to come in thinking of a capital raising venture to also get into real estate aggressively?
Well, I think the market is ripe for capital raising. I've seen a few analysts saying that you know, the market is also waiting to see how the rates will work if they do come to the market, and I don't know if British American is going to go that path, but basically the public is willing and wants to get in, and that it's like a unit trust kind of thing, isn't it? So it lets even the small, you know, Mwananchi be able to participate in building a sector or investing in a particular area, because it's not as capital intensive as going into, you know, real estate development on your own. So I think that this is an area that, you know, a lot of focus is going into, because it has been largely untapped, and it is very, very, very lucrative.
All right, let's look now at the Kenya Commercial Bank results, which also came in yesterday at 19% growth in pre-tax profit to about 10 billion shillings, which is actually much more faster than most of the other banks in its level that we saw coming in. But of interest is what the chairman of the board said, whereby they're looking to get into Somalia, Djibouti and Ethiopia. Those are some of the countries in their radar. What do you think about that expansion strategy?
Well, I think Kenya Commercial Bank is a success story. It was bogged down by, that government, type of structure for years. Came out of that, already had a very big branch network in Kenya, so they're quite good at managing, a large branch network already. And they were, I think, the first to even go regional. We saw them getting into Tanzania, which was they had some hiccups, but they have learned very well from those hiccups that they got there. And then they moved into, I think, Uganda. And now we are seeing them now spreading their wings further. And so I think they've already learned enough to now become a regional bank. The restructuring has also done them a lot of good. Their costs, management costs, have gone to a manageable level.
At 54%.
At 54%, which is now manageable. And again, Kenya Commercial Bank raised capital a few times through rights issues, and they have used those funds very well to grow that bank. And I think that augurs well with shareholders, and that gives them a very, very strong investor sentiment, which I believe is really driving the price of that stock. So I am still very bullish on the stock.
Were you a bit concerned about the non-performing loan ratio, whereby we saw it going up to 8.3% from about 6.3 previously last year? It
was rather expected. I mean, interest rates did go up. And so having had that, increase in interest rates, and banks did not bring down the interest rates, so there could have been a bit more of defaults. They also lend to a bit of a more risky spectrum than the likes of, say, Barclays or Standard Chartered, and so you could expect a bit of an increase in non-performing loans. But I think that as long as we remain in a low interest regime, then that is a problem that they can deal with, and it is a manageable.
Now, the earnings season seems to be coming to an end with just a few that are yet to announce, but at least for the banks, KCB was the last to announce. And you're seeing the stock market pulling back, and it's at a 7-week low. And yesterday's close was about the 4th straight day in a session that it was dropping. How do you see the performance of the stock market going forward into next week?
We're seeing there's quite a bit of profit taking. September in the yearly market cycle is usually a high point, and so we've seen a bit of profit taking. We saw Safaricom hit, say, 820, and then it came down to around 760, and then started again going up. And we've seen that same pattern with most of the other large caps. So that is just a cyclical issue. That said, I think we're still seeing a lot of inflows from foreign investors, in as much as last week we did see a bit of a decline in their participation as buyers. But I think that as long as we're seeing a lot of funds coming in and being pumped into our market by the foreign investor, and also the local investors are still quite vibrant on the market, we should expect the equities market to continue being bullish.
All right, many thanks for joining us. That is Samuel Geshahi, Head of Business Development at NIC Securities. We put a hold on Kenyan markets on that note, and